Protestant reformer Martin Luther loved talking about two things. Number one, the church is corrupt. And number two, Hark! Before you watch any further in this video, just in case there are children present, I have to warn you, there will be strong graphic potty language. But it's part of our history, of course. This is one of the most pivotal figures in the history of the entire world. Martin Luther's the guy who nailed 95 theses to the door of a Catholic church in 1517 to tell people how messed up the church was, thus beginning the Protestant Reformation, creating all those Christian denominations and sects we see today. But besides that, he was a bitter and vulgar old man who lambasted his enemies with insults like, "I would not smell the foul odor of your name. God may ordain that in swallowing you may choke to death. You ass to cap all asses, screaming your hee-haws." And that's not even the worst of it. This man was obsessed with poop and farts. A study revealed that out of 371 of his letters, 85 of them, that's almost 40%, contained some reference to poop, farts, or buttocks. 95 theses, more like 95 feces. He talks about spiritual revelations he's had while sitting on the toilet. He talks about how every morning when he wakes up, he scares the devil away with a fart. He called Pope Paul III, "Dear little ass Pope, Pope fart ass," and "Ass Pope fart." He read one of Pope Clement VII's statements and compared that statement to a giant fart, saying, "I was frightened and I thought I was dreaming. It was such a thunderclap. Such a great horrid fart did the papal ass let go here. He certainly pressed with great might to let out such a thunderous fart. It is a wonder that it did not tear his whole and belly apart." He just loved comparing his enemies to turds on the ground that are devoured by maggots and worms. Brings a whole new meaning to the phrase, the diet of worms. There's even a legend that Luther ate a spoonful of his own poop every day, believing it to be healthy. But the worst thing Martin Luther ever said had to be some of his last recorded words, which were, no. I take that back. The worst thing Martin Luther said had to be one of the many extreme things he said to demonize Jewish people and make his readers hate Jewish people as aggressively as possible, contributing to a historic anti-Semitism throughout the ages, including but not limited to the rhetoric of Nazis. But the worst poop-related thing Martin Luther said had to be some of his last recorded words, which were, "I am like a ripe shit, and the world's like a gigantic anus, and we are about to let go of each other." Thus spoken like a true man of God. And of course, Luther contributed more to the world than just a potty mouth. Like this is the guy who took the Bible, which could only be read by priests who knew Latin, and translated it into the vernacular, taking that power away from the priesthood and giving it to the people. And this is the guy who started a movement that would bring a kind of freedom of thought to millions of people who would otherwise be under the control of a theocracy trying to buy their way into heaven. But given what we've seen about Luther's character, it's just interesting that this angry, gutter-minded old man would be so integral to the DNA of millions of devout Christians worldwide. It just goes to show that the Holy Spirit moves in mysterious ways. Just like your bowels!